Misty, your question was, what is the best strategy to get my son acclimated to his teacher? And I would say, even though Misty asked that question, all the rest of you, the three of you, the four of you all together, how do you get acclimated to your new teacher? This is an August CommuniCamp, so the theme was back to school and talking about school. And I would say one of the number one things, as soon as you know who your teacher is, you start to get connected to your teacher. Sometimes it's through email, sometimes it's sending messages, but going into the school in a nonchalant way. Like, you have younger kids, you don't have 15, 20-year-olds. So it's really much easier to just, parents are way more involved in, hey, we're going to go to the school rather than do you want to go? Or, hey, we need to go to school. Do you want to go now? And then that's fine. But go, upbeat, positive. It's really about being positive. And if you have anxieties about this, you don't share this with your child or around your child. That's one of the things that I notice parents do sometimes, is they'll talk about their own fears and worries in front of their child. And then it's low. Then the child's nervous. So getting to know the teacher, but not necessarily going by yourself with the child. Maybe bringing a sibling, maybe bringing a friend. Finding out who is in your child's class. I know we talk about the teacher, but if you can get the names of kids in your class that you can get together with as much as possible, that you know are the beginning buddies. And if you don't panic, because within the first few days or weeks of school, we're going to see who your child is connecting with the most. Maybe it's an interest. With younger kids, it might be an interest in playing in the housekeeping area or doing puzzles. With the older kids, it might be basketball. Who is your child a good match with? And we do rely on the teachers. But if there's a way to get into the school, bringing something that your child likes and knows. For some children, it's bringing a little photo album of their summer vacation. Sometimes it's the back to school interview questions and making it fun and upbeat. And the teacher can interview the child, talking about common summer questions. What'd you do this summer? The teacher can ask. Did you go on vacation? Are you excited about school? And for little kids, I would say exploring the room, walking the halls in school. As soon as you have the ability to get into the school environment, go. I call it walk the halls. Just go, see where the lunchroom is again. Even if your child's been there, walk the halls. Because 3 months of not being in school for little kids is like 2 years for us. So going, seeing the school, sometimes they clean it up, they do some repairs, they do renovations. This school did a bunch of renovations where we're having CommuniCamp. So things are different for us than they were maybe the last camp. So looking at the school, seeing where the nurse's office is, seeing where all the bathrooms are. And I know that's a question that some of you have brought up about toileting. So we're going to get into that. But really walk the halls. Look up maps on the website. Be really upbeat. The biggest message is upbeat. What are your thoughts with some of the things I just said?
I have the question. My son loves schedules. We have a August schedule up. He really loves telling time. He wants to know when things are happening. But then I'm like, how much emphasis I should put on it. And I always try to lean into what he likes. And he likes the schedule. He likes leading up to it. But I'm now I'm making this this big thing. And so I just feel nervous about that.
So one thing that I want to talk about is look, listen, and learn. And I didn't talk a whole lot about it yet at CommuniCamp. We're only on day 2. Mm-hmm. But one thing that I do talk about, and I want you guys to think about, and you've heard me if you've heard me talk, and you know this about me. Look, listen, and learn is your way of looking at your child, listening, and learning from them. Mm-hmm. You just told me something really important. Your child loves schedules, likes to feel in control. Yeah. You don't fight that. Mm-hmm. That likes to know where he's going, when he's going, how he's going. It gives him a sense of control. Mm-hmm. And that's amazing because it's all about structure, consistency, routine, and predictability that most of our children do well with. Right. Sometimes it's us as parents introducing it to them because they aren't as vocal about it. They don't realize that yet. But go with that. Mm-hmm. I see that as amazing. I saw something on Instagram last night. I know that's right. That's where you go for everything. But it was interesting. There was a child sitting, and it was a little bit nervous. And he was sitting at the breakfast table. And you could see with the video, the child was nervous. I'm not sure what they were going to do, but you could see it said something my child was nervous. The mom puts music on in the background and just starts dancing really funny. And it loosened her up because her child was nervous. She was nervous. And so what happened was it was about how your change in energy reflects back or projects back to your child. And I can't tell you how so true that is. So the mom had dancing music and she started taking some of the kitchen materials, and all of a sudden her daughter comes in and she's dancing and laughing, and all of a sudden you see the child that was so nervous go like this, like dancing and shaking a little. And then all of a sudden he starts to laugh, and that whole mood of nervous about whatever it was they were nervous about became, and there's nothing wrong with acknowledging nervousness, but you can't sit in the anxiety and stress. So once you've talked about it and you've acknowledged it, because I'm always like, you acknowledge what a child says, but you don't feed it too much. What do you mean you're nervous? Let's talk about it. You say it in a way, hey, I can see why that can be a little scary or nervous, nerve-wracking. Like, I remember when I felt this way, and you'd say that. Here's some things we're going to do to work through it. What are your thoughts if they're older? And you talk to them. But once you've discussed it, just be done with it, because you don't want to sit in it. You want to talk about it, acknowledge it, and as I say, move on. And that's what that mom did. I don't know what it was, but I loved it. And I'm like, I got to talk about this at camp, because that's what I tell families all the time. You almost have to fake it till you make it, because you can't sit in it. What are your thoughts with that, guys?
It's true.
Yeah. Can you think of
I like that.
when you were like kind of nervous and you felt, wow, I'm projecting my anxiety, even with treatment? Like when you're nervous about it, like a lot of times families that travel, frankly, to the Smart Center, you're across the street, right?
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever had a family across
We
the
can
street.
walk.
Oh, wow. It's the talk of the town. Well, it's the talk of the town at the Smart Center, because most of our families drive really far, or they fly to us. And some fly every month. And if they don't want to do web, right? Or we're not licensed in their state and they don't want to do the coaching or whatever it is. So you're so close, right? But some families that are traveling are like, wow, we're putting all our eggs in this basket, and they're nervous, and they walk in with a flat affect. And my staff knows, because if you ever met Mary Kate, oh, she's here today, smile from ear to ear. Like that projection to you guys is so important. And when you meet our staff, they're smiling at you. They want to make you feel comfortable. And so we want to help lower your anxiety. But one of the things I teach parents is fake it till you make it. Even if you have to look at yourself in a mirror and fake the smile, your child may know, but really try to figure out ways. And that may lead to your own self-care. Maybe you need some support. I know you do, because a big part of CommuniCamp is offering you that and treatment. But if you're working with different therapists, you might need your own support if you're really in this thick of it, stress where you can't even think straight. So you got to think about that. But I would say it's a balance, like a seesaw. It's not so much of the rigidity, but it's also enough that you've got it, but you don't want to sit in it.